Welcome to G3, Games, Gadgets, and Guests, an audio and video podcast from 702 Communications. I'm your host, Brian Crowett. I've got a gadget episode for you today, but more than a gadget episode, I've got a game episode. So it's kind of a two for one for you all today. We're going to talk real briefly about the Apple TV, mainly so we can get to the game. But since we haven't talked about the Apple TV for a long time, we haven't talked about anything streaming for a long time, just a really quick primer on the Apple TV version 4. So Apple TV, like all the other streaming devices that are out there, have done a really good job recently of incorporating a lot of new content. So you can search across different content providers. Apple TV is no different in that. The Apple TV has always kind of been my favorite, except for the fact that they didn't have Amazon content. That we're really excited to say is changing. And so with that coming up very soon here, you're going to be able to start buying Apple TVs on Amazon, and you're going to be able to get Amazon content on Apple TVs. We decided it was time to try a new Apple TV again. It's going to have some tie-ins to some things down the road too for other podcasts, so stay tuned for those. But so for today with the Apple TV, I just want to really briefly say that the form factor is if you haven't had an Apple TV for a long time, it's smaller than the first one. It's a little bit bigger than the last one. But on the whole, the Apple TV has been the same pretty much in how it looks for the last couple of years. The biggest change for me, I haven't had one for a couple of years, is the new remote. The new remote integrates a touchpad at the very top here, and that has its whole other set of pros and cons. You just touch to scroll, and it moves the screen up and down, left and right. You do also then have a push button there to make your selection. They do also have voice in this remote, and so that's really handy when you want to search for something. Voice is really easy, and again, they have an app on your phone if you want to use that as your remote. So this remote honestly takes a little bit of getting used to. My wife doesn't like it really at all, so it does take some getting used to. It's got some cool functionality, and I think that they're going to continue to tweak that a little bit and make it even better than it is today. But for today, what we really want to talk about is how you can play games on the Apple TV and use the remote as the controller. So today, we're going to go into Real Racing 3. Real Racing is a free game from the App Store. There are in-app purchases, but the whole game is controlled with the controller itself. So you start, you get a free car. As you go through and you win races, you can buy new cars, you can buy upgrades to your cars. And one of the cool things, or probably the coolest thing, honestly, about this game is when you're playing and when you're racing the road races, you're actually racing other players from around the world. So I'm gonna go in here. You got to orient the remote, and then you got to swipe around, and we can get right into some racing. I haven't done a whole lot in this game. Really, I haven't even made it to the pro series. I'm still in the amateurs, so we can do time trials, or we can do drag racing, or we can do whatever. I'm just going to take us into a quick time trial. You can select different cars. I do have, if I can get myself up there, I do have a couple different cars. It didn't go to my right car. I'm just going to race with this car then. That's fine. I don't need to race my fancy new Challenger. I'll be perfectly happy with my purple Focus. So in this, it's got a full assist for shifting and accelerating and braking. So really all I need to do is turn the remote to do my racing. And in a time trial, you can see what your best time is. You're basically racing against a ghost of your last time. And right now, because the last time I was doing this, my producer was actually standing in front of the TV, I am managing to race just a little bit cleaner when he's not, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close right now. So the response of the remote just in the tilt. Oh, I went off track. Invalid lap. So the response, anyway, of the remote, just as far as the accelerometers and the tilting it to turn, I mean, it really does work pretty well for the most part. There was yesterday I was actually doing some racing, and when you've got a more crowded track, there are some times that I wish I had a little bit better control than this remote gives me. But we can go ahead and we can either then watch a replay, we can retry it, we can try a different race. But what I'm going to do here is at the end of every race, you can choose to service your vehicle. And then you can either wait a couple minutes, and here's where some of the in-app purchases come in. You can pay a couple coins here to say I don't want to wait, or you can wait a couple minutes. So that's kind of how they get you with the in-app purchases. Some of the in-app purchases are just to deliver an upgrade or to deliver a car. Like yesterday, I had enough money to buy a new car. I bought a new car, but guess what? It was going to be 3 hours before I could play with that new car, unless I wanted to pay for VIP service, which was a couple bucks, and I didn't care enough to do that. So, like I say, some in-app purchases. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to also show you. Here's one of the races. That'll actually have you racing against other players in the world. Like I say, the controls are always the same. So you get in there, and I've got it set so it accelerates, it brakes, it does everything for me basically. I just need to drive the car. So lap 1 of 3, and you can hire different crew members. So if you win, you get different more money or whatever. I think it's cool that as you're racing along, like right now, the person to my left there is someone from Canada. Yesterday I was racing with people from Switzerland and France, and I've got somebody from Great Britain up there. So that's really a cool aspect of this game, is that you really are racing other people. Not as cleanly as we want. We need to get some separation. It's always like this at the front. But so yeah, this race really is just a matter of tilting the controller back and forth. This can be played with a controller, and we do have plans to review a controller in the future. But we just wanted to show that this is one of the cool things that you can do with the Apple TV right out of the box without any other accessories. Is you can pick up and you can start playing right out of the box. I like my Challenger more than the Focus. This is a more fun car. That's the same wall I hit yesterday. So I don't know that I need to go through all 3 laps here with you, but I'm actually doing really well. So maybe you do have to bear with me. Oh. That was a bad line. So once we get through this race, whether we finish it or not, once we get through this race, you'll get a bonus for finishing, obviously. You'll also get a bonus for running a clean race, and I've not run a completely clean race here. I've run into cars, I've run into walls, and so you'll lose some money, or I'll lose some money because of those things. But then at the end of it, I can take all of those earnings from this race, and I can go into the garage. And if I decide that I want to paint the car, I can paint the car. If I want to put rims on the car, I'll put rims on the car. If I want to tune the engine, or tune the suspension, or tune the transmission, I can do all of those things. So there are upgrades to buy, there are customizations to buy, and that's one of the I guess that's one of the really cool things about these racing games is you're able to pick up a lot of these cars that you've always kind of wanted to get your hands on anyway. You're able to do some customizations to make it your own, and then you add this overall competition, where you're not just competing against some bots, you're not just competing against the AI, but you're actually competing against other drivers around the world, and that just adds another level or another component to make this a fun game. Obviously, this is my first run with this car. I haven't done any upgrades on it, and so I've got drivers up front that I don't even see. They're so far ahead of me, so I'm not going to hit top 3. I'm definitely not going to win this race, but I'm better than a lot of the field with just this car out of the box too. So almost done here. See if I can finish. There we go. So there you go. There's a road race. 3 of 3 laps. Placed 7th. Here, like I say, we're talking about a clean race bonus and about all of the demerits I got. I'm going to need a new windshield, new fenders, lots of other things. So you also increase in driver level as you go through these different things, and you can unlock different tracks and stuff like that. So for a free game that you can get with your Apple TV, and that you can play with your Apple TV remote, Real Racing is kind of a good time. So if you've got one, go ahead and give it a play. Maybe I'll see you on the track. Hope you liked this really quick review of Real Racing and of the Apple TV. If you did, please check back, because we're going to be reviewing more iOS games. We're going to be reviewing more Apple TV accessories, and more on the Apple TV itself in upcoming episodes. So as always, tell your friends, like us, share these podcasts, and please do tune in. And until next time, I'm Brian Cromit. This is G3. Game on.